Welcome back. On our last episode, our party made it through the portal to the Yggdrasil Orchid. They now know that they not only need to defeat Professor Stewart to save Hillary, but also to save the world itself. The University of Phoenix Force offers a frightening amount of power, and in the wrong hands it could put an end to the world as we know it. We'll get back to the mission shortly, but first a word from our sponsor.
Well, hello there, everyone. I'm here with the unofficial Alaskan Tourism Board. Unlike the bureaucrats in Alaskan Washington, I'm here to give it to you straight. Alaska, like Star Wars, is the final frontier. Except instead of Captain Kirk running around in spandex, you have my friend Joe the plumber and his masturbation-addicted brother, Plum the J-Oer, also running around in spandex. See our beautiful, lush landscapes before we rip up the earth and destroy one of the last beautiful places this planet has to offer. Visit our beautiful glaciers before they all melt under mysterious circumstances nobody could prepare for or know were happening for the past century. Eat a bounty of fish from our beautiful oceans while they still have fish. Hear my white, non-indigenous daughter, Bristol, talk about how Mount McKinley shouldn't have had a name change, even though even my dumb ass has managed to get on board. So stop on by beautiful Alaska and see Russia. Kick Putin right in his scrotum. Do you know the difference between a hockey mom and a scrotum? Lipstick. I'm Sarah Palin, and I approve this message. Now let's get back to it.
Having traversed the portal, you find yourself in the Arcane Sanctuary. It's a small complex made of floating conjured platforms kept safe from the vacuum of space by strong magics. The platforms are broken apart and scattered with no apparent way to traverse between them. You manage to make out the form of 4 figures, all on separate platforms. Stella Rosegarden stands alone, channeling powerful arcane magics across the barrier. Professor Stewart, surrounded by clouds of mystical energy, sits in his own chamber and appears deep in trance. Hillary lays flat on a raised dais on her own platform. Surrounded by the same clouds as Stewart, and under the apparent counter-effects of Stella's spell, it appears she's pulled in a tug-of-war between the denizens. Lastly, a man stands alone on the entrance platform. He waits in the corner and observes, but says nothing.
There's Hillary. We have to get to her before Stewart's spell breaks through.
I admit I am impressed. I've heard tales of Professor Stewart's powers of mind control, and most do not resist this well. Perhaps Stella's magics will be more assistance than expected.
Professor Stewart's voice echoes within your minds.
All right, Hillary. Since you're not going to hear me out, I'm going to speak to the smart part of your brain, the gray matter gene, directly. And in order to show the utmost respect, I am going to use a last name first syntax. Jean Grey, you must listen to me. The power of the University of Phoenix Force is too much for you to wield alone. You must let me in.
I'll never let you in. I stand with James Corden.
Are you sure you want her back alive?
Yes, how do we get to her?
I don't see a path or portal or anything.
Maybe this guy knows. Sir, how do we get to Hillary?
The only way to travel is to tap into the University of Phoenix Force and pull these platforms together. Or use some other form of magic, but it's gonna be a doozy.
Who are you? Why are you here?
Now's not the time for that. You need to save your friend.
He's right. Hold on, everyone. I think I can use my magic to pull our platform to the closest one. But we risk interrupting Stella's concentration.
Don't worry about her, she'll be fine.
Everyone brace yourselves. We have no idea what will happen once we move away from the entrance.
Hold on, everyone. We don't have any time to lose. Don't forget, we still need to save Joe and the others.
I hope they're doing okay.
I certainly hope that last demonstration was informative. Now, the other way I like to masturbate is like this.
Oh, wow, nice. Excellent form.
Margaret, moving these platforms without the University of Phoenix Force is incredibly taxing. You lose 3 spell slots until a long rest. The entrance platform is drawn to Stella's location. Once you arrive, you realize what you thought was Stella Rosegarden is an arcane avatar, a robed ethereal shape maintained in perpetuity by some sort of magic. The avatar seems to notice you, but doesn't react, focused on channeling some sort of spell.
Stella, we're here to help. How do we save Hillary?
We even have the final gem from the Rose Garden crest.
You have what? You fools, you'll let him escape!
Wait, are you the man from the...
No time for that. Professor Stewart is using the mantle of thought to try and take over Hillary's mind and steal her connection to the University of Phoenix Force. With the crest, he'll be able to take that power out of this world and into ours.
The mantle of thought. I thought that had been lost forever.
You've brought me the final key to this eternal prison. Join me, you useful idiots, and we shall control the world.
Stella, how do we stop him?
I'll keep him from taking over Hillary's mind. You need to go break his concentration long enough so she can snap out of it.
Can you move us over there? Another push from me and I'll be useless in this fight without any spell points. My only cantrip is the brown note.
Sure, hold tight. Excelsior!
With Stella's magics, the platform moves directly adjacent to Stewart's. He seems deep in trance until the platforms touch and the barriers merge. His eyes then open, landing on the party with a fiery rage. Roll for initiative. Patrick, you're up first.
I send a wave of psychic energy at the party as well as a surge of flames.
16 for psychic assault and 12 for the fire surge. A crushing force presses against your minds while a wall of fire encircles you, heating the air and ground.
We must stay focused. I'm using my magnetic powers to redirect some of these flames and create openings for us to attack.
15. Thatcher, your manipulation of magnetic fields causes the flames to swirl erratically, creating gaps in Stewart's defenses.
I'll use this distraction for a precise strike. Stealth is key.
18. Diane, you capitalize on the chaos, slipping through the flames undetected to deliver a powerful blow.
We need resilience against his onslaught. I invoke divine energy to fortify our mental and physical defenses.
17. A surge of divine energy wraps around the party, bolstering your resolve and lessening the effects of the psychic and fire attacks.
Time for a little brute force. I'm charging in to take him head on.
14. Burning with a battle cry, you charge at the professor, breaking through the ring of fire to land a series of powerful blows. Professor Stewart, now facing a direct physical assault, readies himself for a counterattack, the air around him crackling with arcane energy. The void seems to pulse in anticipation of the next round of battle.
I summon an illusion to disorient the party.
19. Hallucinatory figures dance around you, clouding your perception.
I use my powers as the high priestess of the royal family to target the mantle of thought. I seize it, trying to pry it from Stewart's grasp.
12. You know this will take you out of the fight.
Yes, but it must be done.
You gain a grasp on the mantle of thought. It will be pulled away next turn unless Stewart interrupts the spell. Additionally, Margaret will be incapacitated for the rest of the fight regardless.
We need to keep him off of Mags. I activate my Shroud of Shadow on Thatcher to increase her evasion.
9. Diane, your Shroud of Shadow activates and Margaret gains evasion equal to your agility modifier. Nancy, you're up.
I activate a divine shield to make Margaret invulnerable to her next attack.
You roll a 4. The divine shield seems to fizzle out as it leaves your fingertips. Seems even Pope Francis has his limits.
Stupid cheap Taiwanese rosary beads.
Bernie, you're up.
I use a challenging shout to pull Stewart's focus away from Margaret and onto me.
11. Patrick, your next move must target Bernie in some capacity. Bernie, you also gain a Thorn's aura. Patrick, your move. Remember, you will lose the Mantle of Thought and all associated spells after this turn unless you can break the Lady of Iron's concentration. Additionally, Margaret, you will be removed from the turn order but will still be vulnerable to damage. Keep an eye on her, everyone.
Why? We don't need her anymore. We're already here with Hillary.
I'm still standing here, bitch.
Look, we're not going to condemn Margaret to death. That's not who we are. Plus, the Royal Guard surely has the place surrounded. We can't hope to get past them without her alive.
You're not getting past them at all. I activate a level 5 psychic nova and a level 4 firewall to knock the party down and sever Margaret's connection to the mantle.
The Nova rolls 14 and 5 for the firewall. While your firewall fails to load on boot, the psychic nova pulses from your location. Since Bernie is in the area of effect, it is still a valid move despite the taunt. Roll for damage, everyone. Bernie 7, your barbaric rage allows you to resist the psychic pulse. Your Thorn's aura activates, dealing 2 damage in response. Nancy 20, it seems Pope Francis has pulled through for you. Your mind steels itself and focuses on the holy texts of Ezekiel 23:20 and blocks the psychic nova's damage. Diane 4, ouch. Seems your powers of evasion don't work against psychic attacks. Your mind is addled.
You can't prove anything. Are we voting right now? Nancy, how do I vote? Where's my voting hat? I need my voting hat to vote. It's in the new Constitution you gave me, right next to the line about senators being unable to retire.
Holy shit, Nancy, is that true?
Look, we can argue all day about who did what to a Senate dementia patient, but we have more important things to deal with. Did Margaret get a saving throw?
I guess I understand keeping her in the Senate. Believe me, primaries are tough, right, Bernie?
Eat me.
But why the hat?
Look, we had to implement a Code 5 weekend at Bernie's protocol long before she actually died. Half the time she had sunglasses on, and one of my interns was just in the back of her coat moving her arms around to simulate life.
Leave it to the Democrats to keep someone in office who's so mentally...
Focus up, everyone. Margaret, you roll a 12. You manage to resist the psychic blast. You pull the mantle of thought from Stuart, robbing him of his advanced psychic powers. Keep in mind that while currently unable to use it, he has stolen enough of the Rose Garden family's mental fortitude and innate psychic skill to commune with the University of Phoenix Force if he were to complete the crest. You're not out of the woods yet. Thatcher falls to the ground unconscious from her maneuver, having spent all of her mana points. Margaret, your magic retribution passive toggles activating your cantrip. 1 critical miss. You also shit your pants.
Been there.
Diane, you miss your turn, having been addled from the psychic nova. Nancy, your move.
Pope Francis, guide us. I'm casting a spell to reveal weak points and resistances.
18. Pelosi, your spell illuminates Stuart's vulnerabilities. It seems fire and psychic spells aren't great, but arcane and shadow magics have an increased rate of damage.
We don't have those.
You do now. For years I have been in battle with Professor Stewart over every life that enters this world. And for the first time we're getting the upper hand. You have my magic and the power of my avatar. I am Stanley Rosegarden, arcane scholar, creator of the arcane sanctuary and the Red Phoenix. My ruby, quick.
I thought your name was Stella.
Don't dead name me.
Jesus, Diane.
Not cool.
For years you have stood in my way, Stanley, but no longer. You've only given me the convenience of taking you out with the rest of the trash.
I don't think so. Your ruby, Stan. Catch!
You attempt to throw Stan Lee's memento and roll 1. Oof. Standing next to Stuart after your attacks, you attempt to throw the ruby to Stan across the battlefield. Your arm seizes up during the catch and ends up throwing it point blank at Patrick. He takes 3 damage from being pelted in the face with the rock, but also gains possession of the Rose Garden ruby.
You dipshit.
The fuck, Bernie?
I guess I could have walked it over, but that didn't feel as cinematic.
Cinematic. This is a podcast, you wad.
Well, so much for the world as we knew it.
Wadcast.
Look, it's not over yet. We can still defeat him.
You cannot. Julia, I roll to place them all under psychic domination.
16. Stuart, having reclaimed the full Rose Garden crest, overpowers your minds. The party finds themselves unable to act of their own accord. This includes you, Stan Lee.
I have gained power beyond understanding. I am the Alpha and the Omega of this world and all creation. Not a measly red phoenix like you, Stan, and not a darkening gray like your friend Hillary. No power can take me down, for I am Stuart the Wise, Stuart the Phoenix, Stuart of many colors.
The party remains frozen in psychic domination, unable to react as Stuart makes his way to the entrance platform.
There has to be something we can do.
I can't move or even activate rage.
I'm stuck too. Mags.
I'm still unconscious and full of poop.
Oh, right.
As Stuart nears the entrance platform, he finds one final party member blocking his path. Hillary, freed from Stuart's domination and no longer locked in a psychic tug-of-war, stands alone between the professor and Armageddon. She's also gained the mantle of thought, boosting her psychic abilities and granting her resistance to Stuart's spell.
This ends here, Patrick.
You have no power here, Hillary the Grey.
No, Patrick. I am not Hillary the Grey, whom you betrayed. I am Hillary the White, Phoenix of the Crown.
It is then that Hillary reveals her true nature, no longer simply beholden to the gray matter gene and aided by the mantle of thought. She reveals the measure of her power, in a blinding display of white light. The shimmering flames of a phoenix come into being around her.
You cannot defeat me. You are one lone wizard against my power. Step aside or be burned to ash.
I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the phoenix flame. The dark fire will not avail you, flame of Sundune. Go back to the shadow. You shall not pass.
The power of the University of Phoenix force comes to Hillary's aid, shoving Professor Stewart back and breaking his connection to the Rose Garden crest. The party members, including Margaret, regain consciousness.
You can't stop me!
Another hum of magic pushes the professor back, but he remains undefeated. The rest of the party, aided by Stan Lee's magic, arrive on one of the transportation platforms.
We end this here and now, Stuart.
You can try. Julia, roll for hellfire.
10. Patrick, you begin gathering strength for a devastating blast.
I run at him and attempt an arcane shove.
Stan, arcane shove will put you...
I know. It's time to end this once and for all.
11. Stan, you barrel into Professor Stewart and shove him into the void of space. Unfortunately, your momentum from the spell sends you out as well, wrestling with the professor.
Hillary, Margaret, pull him back to us.
No. This is the only way I can keep him restrained long enough to let you escape. When I go, this place goes with me.
We can't just leave you.
Run!
The avatar powering the sanctuary vanishes, and the platforms begin to lose their magical bindings and become exposed to vacuum.
We need to leave now. Everyone get into the portal.
Hillary uses her powers as the White Phoenix to open the return portal. Several platforms, now without their magic, begin falling into the vacuum of space toward the planet below.
What about Stan Lee?
He's gone, Nancy. We have to go.
Pick her up if you have to, Bernie. We need to get out of here. See you on the other side.
I'm going as well.
Margaret and Diane enter the portal.
Come on, Nancy.
Pope Francis, forgive me. Goodbye, Stan Lee.
The remaining party members enter the portal. On the other side, they're met with a fearsome sight.
Good God, Margaret, did you soil yourself?
We're going to take our break there. Reminder, we are still streaming. On Thursdays, you can see Chris Christie engage in a Nakado avocado-style mukbang. He's unaware we're filming, though, so please nobody tell him or he'll begin to keep an eye out for our film crew. Last thing we need is to be banned from Denny's. Thank you for listening.